adopted motions to recommend to the village board to set a public hearing for amendments to the Village of Vernon zoning code, which would be the conditional use sections, and the land division control ordinance, which is the definition of the subdivision, and also the allotment or the point system. And asking the village board to, or recommending to the village board to set the public hearing at their earliest convenient time in December 2020. So that's why it's on the, so, okay, we could set it. Now it's a, class two notice, 15 days, 2 weeks, so we have plenty of time for notice. We did discuss, on our budget hearing, we said December 4th, which is our 4th or 3rd, sorry. Let's get it, I'm getting my paper calendar out so I don't screw this up too badly here. December 3rd, so the thought being, well, we could have it there, or if, as it stands now, the December 9th regular plan commission meeting
Looks
light, this is a plan commission matter, we could set it for public hearing on the 9th.
Does Sean, Mr. President, does Sean have it ready for legal review?
Sean will have it, we had one or two minor changes, and we could follow up with Sean tomorrow, see, I mean, they were very, very small. Yeah, so it should be ready for legal review tomorrow, I would hope, or maybe it's already written. I didn't see anything on the email today, but.
Well, if
Would he send it to John, or would he send it to you first, and then you would send it to John?
typically, if the commission is ready and the village board feels it's ready to get ready for public hearing, it's sent to the attorney immediately. Just, and even if John isn't completely done, that's the good thing about the public hearing, is he could do, a track change proposal. I mean, I don't think he would do that, but based on the public hearing, there might be changes from the public also. But it'd be nice to have John have a crack at it as soon as possible, because I know how.
Right, so, yeah, and I do think we did, that actually was maybe even part of the motion to recommend that the board send it to the attorney for review. And, yes, yes, Fred's saying, yeah, that's what the motion was, so.
Because you even had the attorney review something before this last
Right,
meeting.
very
workshop.
targeted
Yeah,
ones, and Sean, and we did discuss those, the questions and Macy's answer, and Sean had them in the document already. As far as the December 9th, there's a deadline coming up, but we're not quite there, are we?
No, they have till November 9th, so they have till Monday to get their plan commission. And if there is only one item that's a bigger public hearing, but if you had already set this public hearing, we would just do that person's public hearing after your public hearing.
Right. This one shouldn't be too controversial as far as a public hearing,
No,
so,
it's a problem.
Might not be any public.
right,
That's true.
or maybe we'll have to do it via virtual, who knows? And by then, we should have our equipment in.
It's coming in right before Thanksgiving.
So that will be good, and we'll have overflow if we need to
Right.
in the garage, so.
Well, you're not anticipating that big a crowd, are you?
No,
Well, you-
I'm not on these. It's
No,
pretty
I don't think so.
non-controversial, I think.
They're
but-
good changes for the village,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
you'd still want to
something that
prepare.
absolutely had to be done on the conditional uses, and then we cleaned up the subdivision,
Right.
because it is basically unworkable, that we all found out last summer when we went through the one up on XX.
Oh, the allotment.
The
Yeah,
allotment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
well,
now
that hasn't been adjusted for years.
Right, so that's all been adjusted, I think very reader-friendly, user-friendly. So, well,
Can I have a public hearing on the 9th?
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I don't care, I'm just trying to
What
get my
time?
calendar.
What do you want?
7 o'clock on the 9th? That way, if we have to get something in before, we could go earlier for someone else, if necessary.
If we'd have to.
Yeah, so it'd be December 9th, 7 PM,
At the village hall?
Village Hall.
Does that your motion?
Yeah, that's my motion.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Questions? I mean, trustee Mahalik and Swanee were part of, so they're all the way up to speed, so. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So we'll get that to John, or we'll talk to Sean and make sure he makes those few little changes and get it over to John and tell him we're got it on December 9th. So you're gonna give a notice, what, the week of December 1st or 2nd, and then?
Yeah, I'll get that.
Yeah, you've
I'll
got plenty
get
of time
that,
for
yeah,
the notice, plenty of time.
Our standard meeting that we already had scheduled for the night, will we just say time-wise on that one, instead of being 6:30 or 7 o'clock, whatever,
Just be right after this.
just immediately following public hearing?
That's typically what we do.
Yep, immediately following the public hearing.
I think that's what we discussed.
Yep, right. And hopefully it stays light and we'll get through it. Okay, good. And we will get these done by the end of the year, which is a good thing. Correspondence, announcements and reports. We will start with the village trustees. Trustee Slaney, do you have anything?
Not really, just that one question I had open about the streetlights, whether we have to change them or not.
No,
We've heard versus rumors that we,
I called the energy store
Oh, you did?
and they said absolutely not. If they come out and you have one out, they will replace it with an LED.
oh,
Sorry. And they will replace it with LEDs, anything you have out now. You can request them to come out and change them all over at your expense,
but there's no mandate.
but there's no mandate at all. And if they,
What do we have, like 16?
18 or something, I thought it was, yeah, I didn't.
oh, is that about the number?
Yeah, but they said too, that if they would put an LED in and the LED has an issue with it, they would come and replace it at their cost. So there is no mandate to do
Oh,
that.
okay, great, thank you.
See, I wrote it on my hand.
But that is part of the budget. We'll get into that too in the budget, so I'm glad we got it answered. But yeah, we were wondering mostly the budgetary impact of it. Anything else, trustee Swanee,
No.
trustee Wildly?
Yes, I have a couple of things. I was looking at the agenda for human resources, and I have a couple of questions regarding some items on that agenda. One is the outsourcing of the tax bills. I was always under the impression that the board would take care of items like that. I didn't know how that come under the purview of the human resources. We had been talking about this in the past, and I'm kind of curious as to why that item is on that specific committee. I think that's an item that should be discussed at this board level and made a decision at this board level. The other item that's on that agenda that I have a question about is the interviewing of the staff of the clerk's office and everything, and writing job descriptions. Is the committee going to write job descriptions for the DPW department, and also are they gonna bring in the DPW department employees for an interview as they're doing with the clerk's office? I think it's only fair that if one group gets handled one way, everybody should be handled the same way. The other thing that I want to bring to is I want to wish everybody, all of our servicemen who served in this, in the service, a happy Veterans Day, which will be coming up next week. And I thank you for all of your service. And I also want to thank all the voters that came out yesterday in regard to voting. We had a tremendous amount of people who came in and voted, probably one of the largest groups that's ever done this in the village. And I want to thank all of the workers who spent numerous hours going through the ballots and everything and working at the polls here, all the poll workers and everybody who was involved in in making this election run so nice and smoothly here in the village. And I think that's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Obviously, we can't discuss your former one because it's not on the agenda, but, or your first item because it's not on the agenda, but we could put that on, well, it's going to end up on a future agenda,
Okay,
so.
very good, sir.
Okay, trustee Mahalik.
Thank you. I'd like to say that the Halloween trick or treat in our neighborhood went very well.
Didn't have anybody.
Yeah, we had. And what was really interesting to me is that most of the children that came around did not have what I call the traditional Halloween costumes, you know, they go out and buy a mask or whatever else. Most of the things that they did, or the way they costumed themselves, was with things that they had around the home or whatever else, which was very impressive, and all the children were very, very, very polite. I'd also like to congratulate my fellow vets, okay, for, and hope that they enjoy the holiday. And then I just want to close by saying, everyone be safe with COVID. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Dash.
I don't have any announcements at this time.
Okay, thank you. President's report, it's probably going to sound much like we just heard. Trick or treat, I thought went fine, and I didn't hear any reports, and people kept their distance and tried to stay safe. Election day, again, we had lines at times, and I'm sure we'll get a clerk's report. We did have a tremendous number of mail-in, drop-off absentees and early voting. We did get a outstanding review, I would say, what it was, fantastic or something on WISN for their early voting hours. We were the only municipality in Waukesha County to open before 8 o'clock and to stay open till 5 every day and have Saturday hours and by appointment. So that was on 11:30 radio, Belling Show. So I thought I'd mention that because it does. It puts the clerk's office in a great light and Vernon in a great light. Veterans Day, remember our veterans on November 11th, and of course, we're seeing record numbers of COVID cases, and so please be safe. And remember your distance and hygiene and all of that. So I know the high school is closed. Quantico High School is closed in person starting today or tomorrow and next week.
Really?
Yeah, so be safe. Department of Public Works.
Well, first of all, I just want to say one thing about Election Day as being a part of helping set up and tear down. I was very impressed with how Karen and staff had everybody moving through. We had a pretty big line right away in the morning, and I've heard several people comment about how fast they got them through everything. So I thought that went very well, so. Yes, yeah. So, we've been up to, pretty much getting our trucks and vehicles ready for the winter. Obviously, we're a little premature now, it looks like, but, last year we would have been plowing at this time, so, you know, we've got one more truck basically just to throw a little bit of equipment on, and we're pretty much ready to go here, so, with that, in the downtime, we've been doing some gravel shoulder work, and, today we started crack filling again because of the weather permitting. So by having our own compressor, that really helped just have everything here. We can just jump right back into that when the weather permits. So that's a huge plus for us. So we did get a lot of crack filling done even prior to this last couple weeks here getting the trucks ready. So I had an inspection for our bucket truck as the annual inspection. Today I came out and gonna get the report probably tomorrow from him for the next few days. On Monday, I was meeting Andy, the engineer over at the Pheasant Run. He's gonna go over a few things on that cul-de-sac. He's got some questions about the elevation on that cul-de-sac to see if we can kind of slope that down a little bit. The neighbors were asking me about it, and I asked Andy a while ago about it, and he was waiting for some paperwork from the people building it or whatever, and he's got a couple questions himself, so he said he would like to go over there and just walk it and take a good look at it and see what we can do there to change, because it's pretty elevated cul-de-sac now, and if we can kind of cut some of that grade down, which would probably help them anyhow, because it really drops off after the cul-de-sac there, so. But, that's pretty much, wood chips, I only had like 5 loads I delivered, and I had 3 loads picked up. So I still have quite a pile of wood chips back there, so if anybody's looking for some,
Free if they're picked up, and otherwise a $30 delivery charge.
correct, so.
John, you mentioned weather permitting regarding crack filling. What is the lowest temperature that you allow to the landfill?
Well, you can get out there when it's colder, it's actually better when it's cooler, because in the summertime, you really don't wanna do it because of the expansion, the roads expand, the cracks close up. So the cooler it is, the better, but I mean, within reason, it's almost impossible to get this stuff heated up in the wintertime if it's 10 degrees out, obviously, so. But I'd say, you know, get down to 30s, we could still be out there, so. That's it for me.
Clerk, treasurer.
First of all, I want to thank all the voters that came out. Some of them were very patient in the very beginning, as John stated. At 7 o'clock, they were all the way down. I know, Jim, you saw it. Gary volunteered to come out. Thank God he was doing traffic control in the parking lot, trying to get people through. And the voters were very patient and they were very well behaved. Wanted to thank my tremendous deputy clerk treasurers, the extra hours that they put in, the extra effort that makes that reflects so well on the village of Vernon, that superior customer service. Also wanted to thank my election inspectors. We had a great crew. So many people called and asked if they could, we had more than enough volunteers, well, they get paid, but election inspectors, and they did an outstanding job. John and the DPW crew, all the help they gave in regards to lighting and assistance, and we had a couple glitches that John and the guys stepped right in and helped out, and wanted to thank the board for that extra machine. I mean, if the board wouldn't have approved that machine that was just dedicated, 2 separate machines were dedicated to the over 4,000 absentee ballots that had to be processed on top of the 1,900 voters that came in that day. Vernon had a 93.5% turnout of the voters, so that went just incredibly well. So just, once again, my tremendous thanks to everyone for doing a great job, and that's all I have, sir.
All right, thank you.
On voting, somebody asked me what happens to the envelopes that those absentee ballots come in. Do you have to keep those too?
Everything is boxed up and sent up to the county, so the county can do their canvassing. They're not gonna open those boxes unless there's a recount. But every absentee ballot is accounted for, not only on the envelope, but in the books. People have been calling, very concerned about if their vote counted. What happens now is we're banking in those almost 6,000 voters into our books. That, and once it's reconciled, then that information is exported up to the state. And I don't know the reflection time, but we've had a lot of people call very concerned if their ballot counted, so we've been trying to reconcile, but then telling people what their voter number is and letting them know that, you know, we'd be happy to show them as soon as we reconcile their actual page in the voter book, so that they can see that what voter number they were. And I can assure every Vernon voter that every ballot was accounted for. We didn't miss any absentee ballots, any in-person ballots. Everything went just perfect. Thank you.
Yay. Yeah, and it's not quite over. It's not quite over, and I do think, my vote said that they're gonna be updating as they go here, but in 3 weeks, they're thinking you'll be able to go on my vote, see that you're absentee, it was sent, received, so on, so.
Right, you can tell if you voted absentee or if you voted in person. In fact, you can look back on a whole history of how you voted in multiple elections.
So. Okay, on to finances, accounts payable. My only the only question I had on accounts payable was, on the attorney's bill, there was some, and we don't have to answer this tonight, it's not gonna affect the bill itself, but the question, and maybe this is something we can run by Attorney Macy, our next legal call, whether we could, his review of the minutes of the cell tower, because it did go to litigation, whether that would be appropriate to a bill too. Yeah,
I saw his bill, I didn't want you to think that I requested that, but that might have been Ramsey's. So if that is the case, then we'll clarify that with, and they don't charge that for us, but if that was Ramsey's or Luke Martell, that's the other attorney, it could have been them, because he did ask me for each set of minutes before I even did my open records request of 600 pages. So we'll clarify that, Mr. President.
Yeah.
And board members. The other thing I wanted to tell the board members is we did get a discount from Hertz Rental. It was supposed to be $522, which is in your APs under John's capital.
these are for the lights.
Capital ones, yep. It was supposed to be $522, but they ended up only charging us $350. So your, I mean, it's $172, so your accounts payable would be minus $172, so the new total would be $88,160.43. That's $88,160.43.
160 or 150? I had 322, and if we subtract off 172, wouldn't it? I'd have 150, is that
No,
right?
it should be $522.
Oh, well,
It was, they had told me $522, yeah, $522, and he took off $172.
okay, now I'm looking at, let's just stop for a second. I'm looking, oh, you're looking at Capital One. I was looking at the total, sorry.
No,
I was looking at the number to approve.
okay,
Okay, sorry. Is the number to approve 88,322, so the Capital One bill has been adjusted to the appropriate number?
no, we just found that out after APs were
Okay.
done, so I wanted to reduce,
Okay, okay. So the Capital One goes from 522 to minus 175?
172, so
Or,
it's
sorry,
it'll be now
172.
350.
172. I'm tired too, sorry.
I don't trust my math either right now. 88322.
So the Capital One goes down to 350, and the total goes from 88,322.
Oh, yeah, it's 8815, I'm sorry, 88150.
Right, that's what I thought.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
I was gonna say it, but you guys had the paper, so.
Yep.
Yep, I thought that was very nice that they did that.
Oh, outstanding. Did they give you any reason, Karen? Just being nosy?
No,
Or John?
No,
we did call them initially thinking we would use them in the morning, but, you know, when we thought that extra cost, we really couldn't justify. And John had the lights out so that the poll workers could, walk safely on the sidewalk. I mean, there's a nice sidewalk.
Yeah.
But that was really, I thought that was nice that they gave us a discount.
Karen, you neglected to mention, it didn't come in the APs, but in a report that the donation of the sub sandwiches from the,
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes. Yeah, the Subway shop in Big Bend donated 40 sub sandwiches for the election inspectors and the DPW guys, and that was so nice that they donated that to
yeah.
And which one, which
the
subway?
Subway sandwich shop in Big Bend, right on National Avenue,
you.
right next to Stein's.
I-
They had them ready at 11:30, you know, ham and cheese or turkey, they really, and everybody thought they were really good.
Well, and we frequent them, and I'll make sure that I
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
a comment.
That was very, very nice.
Mention it to the manager, yeah.
Thank you, Gary.
You're on top of it, kid.
Right. It's under APs because there's no bill for it.
So then is a motion in order?
I think so, unless there's further questions?
Nope. I make a motion that we approve the AP for 88,150.43.
That's batch 2020-1105.
I'm sorry, yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Manual checks. And I forgot to mention, we just passed, there are the payments for the expenditures.
Oh, there
that
you
we're gonna
go.
get COVID
Good,
grants
good,
for.
good, good.
All paid, all set to be paid, so. In accounts payable, and then we've got manual checks now, so.
Yep, all these are COVID,
COVID grant checks,
except for the plaque for the soccer.
except for the soccer plaques.
We do have two other manual checks, I don't know, Mr. President, if you wanna add those, or if you want to do the manual checks and put them in our next issue. They are COVID expenditures, the two boards, and the lights that John picked up, and the equipment he needed for COVID setup for the election. It's up to you, Mr. President, I can always do these and put them in our next issue.
Yeah, I know they extended the date for our final COVID date, grant, but isn't it our next regular board meeting? Well, if we have we may have to schedule a meeting like Monday evening or something to finalize our budget, so we can do it then.
I just want to get it ready, because I
Yeah.
have to import all that information to get it in. And
Yeah.
I did ask around to see if I could pick up anything nobody did.
Well, now that we can put in for first responder wages,
Well,
it pretty much everybody will use theirs up, I
and I
would think.
did hear that there's a good chance that there's going to be more grant money coming. So,
Good.
cross your fingers.
Right, so we continue to keep track of our expenditures, and, you know, it's grant money, but we are trying to spend it very wisely, because it's coming from
As needed,
as needed, so,
to keep everyone safe.
right. Well, we could, you could get them ready and put them on our next,
Yeah.
I'll put
I
them
think
on
we're
my-
gonna have to have one budget meeting, we could put them on that
Yep.
agenda for approval,
That's
so we don't have to race through and try and figure it out on the
Right.
spot tonight.
Yeah, and give them a chance to look at the bills.
Yep,
Yep,
I'll make a motion to approve the manual checks in the amount of $5,221.93.
I'll second.
any discussion?
Question, is, estimated postage of $1,450?
that's for tax bills, I'm sorry, that's not a COVID expense. The only COVID one is the conditioned air, but the 1,000, I
Good
do
try
have a
and
lot of
sneak it in there,
postage.
Jim.
No, I think I put 9,000 in postage for all the absentee
Whoa,
ballots
wee.
throughout the, yeah, but this one isn't COVID,
Estimated postage.
yeah.
So, but this is a check to put it on our meter, right? You get the,
It's up, yeah, it has to go up to the county, because they do all the mailing of
That's
the,
what I need.
right,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the county does all the mail, well, the county doesn't. This is the firm that they hired to do the mailing for the tax bills,
Yep.
so that, yeah, that is the estimated postage. Usually we get a refund though.
That's just, when it says estimate, why are we paying an estimate?
They've done that for years.
yeah.
I think it depends on the weight, how many inserts you have, and that's what we're trying to scramble now with.
Okay, any further discussion, manual checks, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next village meeting dates, village board and finance workshops to be announced, because we need to get that set. I suppose in part, it's gonna depend how far we get tonight, but, look at your calendars now, when we talked about going to public hearing December 3rd, then we had to back up, and what did we say? We had to get our notice to Waukesha Freeman Friday morning the 13th, right?
I think we might have a little more time, but
Not too much.
not too much, so if we could finish up next week, that would be great.
Yeah, so that's what I would be looking to do, to finish next week. Now, you said Tuesday was out, right?
Tuesday was, yeah, but Monday,
Monday I'm tough during the day, but in the evening, certainly I could do Monday evening.
And that would be for what, please?
budget workshop.
Budget,
A budget workshop
Yeah,
on the
the
first?
we need to,
Yeah, I would say budget workshop and finalize and adopt the budget for public hearing,
Yeah.
if we can.
And what time would that be?
Time would you like it to start? 7, 6:30?
6:30, 6:30.
Monday,
6:30,
Thursday?
yeah.
Please. 6:30, would that work for you?
Monday?
Yeah.
Monday, just November 9, 6:30, finance and budget with the goal to finish. You know, and I think we can. I think we're gonna make headway tonight after closed session and then finalize it, okay?
Don't need any more workshops, do you?
No, I don't think so. Do you?
No, I think you guys are good.
Right. Planning Commission workshop on zoning matters, I think we're good there. Because we made it through, what we needed to make through. When we set our agenda for November 11th, there's a couple of things Sean wants. We're gonna, next thing up is shoreland and that, so we're gonna put that on the agenda if we have time. So we're gonna keep going on our shoreland and wetland and DNR model, our ordinance and all of that on our regular meeting and then see how far we get.
Right. The only nice thing about the winter is you don't have a lot of plan commission action, so, and,
The only question I have is, when we talked about this, it was 6:30 or 7, and I see on the agenda, is it gonna be a 7 o'clock meeting?
Which
on
meeting
the-
are you talking about now?
This would be November 11th,
It's 7 PM.
7, okay.
Yep. Yes. Oh, I know what you were referring to. You were referring to the adjourned public hearing for the Clune matter.
that was set at 7
It
o'clock.
was set at 7. Yeah, we were gonna check that. Thank you for checking. Yes, 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay, so village board, we're into December 3rd and 17th is our regular meeting. We're gonna, again, the public hearing for the budget is targeted for December 3rd, and we'll have a board meeting starting, at that conclusion. And then plan commission, like we said, 7 PM, November 11th, Wednesday. And that would have to be a joint one because it's a continuation of that public hearing for the Plume conditional use. So we'll get the joint part of that hearing done first.
Then the board could be excused if.
Then the board, yeah, and then we could go to
Okay, so but it's
Go to
gonna
the
be a joint,
wetland, go to the
be a
shoreline.
joint hearing.
Okay. Okay. Any questions? Everybody got it down? Got it down? Okay, so, closed session. I will, make a motion.
Can I,
Yep.
point of order, what are we gonna do with these
Reappoint.
things that are outstanding? The bartender's license, and,
Table,
are you gonna
Well-
table them to the next meeting, or what are we gonna do?
We're gonna reconvene into open session, but we could table them. You haven't heard from the people. You reminded them and,
And the one person asked for a text. The other thing with the other person is you're getting close to the deadline if he doesn't show up.
oh, the property tax deadline. Well, we could give them I'm not sure why the bartender is not showing up, but
Yeah. Well, that's not critical. It's
that's
the-
not critical. The
it's
the
person
brush
that
pickup,
takes
I mean, we're gonna meet Monday. I suppose we could
Can I,
talk to him
for that
whatever.
bartender's license, is it imperative for them to be here for us to approve that? Because there's really not much that we do, other than look at what's here.
It's really your call.
Yeah, it's been a long-standing policy that if they have anything on their record, and this particular individual has 2 misdemeanors
But you,
from a while ago.
but you can't deny them because of that.
But we've always had them come in.
Oh, that's
If
fine.
they've had a
If
record.
that's what you wanna do, that's good, but
Well, we can have it, I mean, when I looked at, well, we can go and ask, do you want to proceed without them showing up and change our policy, or, well, that's true, that's not on the agenda. We're not gonna change our policy, so.
So are we
Yeah,
gonna
so
just table
so
these?
it'd be tabled unless they,
yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So just note for the record that the board, by consensus, tabled these items.
Table
Yep.
both, the bartender's license and the,
Fee?
yeah, the request to void a fee,
Right.
Got that?
okay?
Okay.
So now you made your motion?
So I will make my motion as printed in the agenda to go in closed session, and it will require a roll call vote.
But you need a second.
But I need a second. And we have a second by trustee Slaney.
President Carl Porter.
Yes.
Trustee Jim Slaney.
Yes.
Trustee Gary Wiley.
Yes.
Trustee Fred Mahalik.
Yes,
Trustee Lorene Dashick.
Yes,
Mr. President, note for the record that you do have a quorum of your village board that has requested to go into closed session. I am going to excuse myself so you can talk to John. I'm gonna shut this down here.
Do you want to talk about waste management first before you leave?
It doesn't matter. I just
Okay,
wanna
we can
get,
come and get you then.
just wanna get everything shut down here.
Okay, as a reminder to the public, the general public, no action will be taken in closed session. We are going to reconvene to take possible action on items discussed in closed session, and then proceed with our 2021 Vernon budget.